What's up YouTube, Demi here with a League Starter build guide video for Path of Exile's 3.5 Betrayal League. There's a lot of information coming out of this league, there's a lot of overwhelming information, especially as a new player, but I do want to say a couple things before we get into this list of build guides. So, what defines a good starter is that it's a build that's based off of very few uniques, or rather very cheap uniques, one or the other, and it's a build that will scale into endgame without a lot of currency investment, and by endgame I mean into endgame maps, right? I also look for guides that are well written, or fully detailed, right? So you know everything that you'll get everything that you need to know from the video itself. And it's just a good overall user-friendly build that you can consider like learning the game with, or even if you're an older player, returning player, whatever it might be, you'll be able to pick up this build, follow the guide, and be able to make your way into endgame content without struggle festing too hard, right? That being said, there is a tool for a lot of these builds that you're going to need to download. It's called Path of Building. I'll have all of the links for everything in the description below this video, so you don't want to listen to me rant about this, just expand the description and pick a build that sounds cool to you. But it's called Path of Building. It's by a guy named OpenARL. I highly recommend supporting him. He has a Patreon linked in the actual like Path of Building thing, but it looks like this. His Patreon's down here. Just click that, go to his Patreon, and just support the dude. He has an amazing tool, right? And it's basically the sandbox creator of Path of Exile. You can literally design a character from scratch. You can add all your skills, you can add all your items, whatever you want into it, and it has been updated to 3.5 already. The majority of build guides posted nowadays will give you a paste spin, right? They'll give you a Path of Building paste spin, right? You just take this, copy paste the link, you go into Path of Building, you hit import, export, build, import from paste spin, paste the link, import it, done. It'll tell you everything there is to know about the character, all of its gear, all of its enchants, its flasks, its jewels, the skill tree, all of the links and stuff like that. Everything's in Path of Building already, so just use that, download that, it's free. If you want to support the dude, I highly recommend it. But let's go ahead and get into this. So, my starter, actually we should talk about what's changed in 3.5. So, major changes, basically they nerfed stat sticks for dual wielding characters, specifically for dual wielding. If you are playing like a Blade Flurry Reeve character, instead of having a stat stick in your offhand, you're just going to have another weapon with a similar DPS in your offhand, or go shield, sword and board style, right? That works. It's the same otherwise everything else is the same. It still works for spells, physical damage spells specifically, and then there's a bunch of like new cold damage builds that are going to come out of this. Every other build is more or less exactly the same as last league, so don't get too overwhelmed, they're all still just as viable as they were before. So let's go ahead and get into what I'm going to be playing for my starter. I decided I'll probably be going with my Infinite Tinkerer build guide, which is a Lightning Trap Saboteur. It's a Shadow. You get Lightning Trap super early on as Shadow, and you can level up with it from the very beginning without any issues at all. And it's a really fun build. It's got a ton of projectiles. It's just, I don't know, it covers the whole screen, and it's really easy to scale in endgame. So it's a really good build. The only unique that it requires, really, quote-unquote requires, is the Tinker skin. Everything else is rares, right? And I don't even need this. I can just use a mana pot until I get to that point. So that'll be my starter. It's just a super easy trapper build. I like trappers, they're fun. And it's just like crit lightning projectile, more or less. The next build guide that I would recommend is if you want to play MF Windripper. They did tone down Windripper a little bit. They nerfed its damage, they nerfed its crit. Actually, they buffed its damage, nerfed its crit, and they removed some of the movement speed available from Queen of the Forest, which is the chess piece that this character uses. That being said, you can still do exactly this in next league. You'll just have a little bit less movement speed and a little bit less quant, basically. They nerfed Sadima's Touch as well. But yeah, it's a really good build. I min-maxed it to hell in the standard, which is what this build guide is, but you'll be playing the relatively cheaper budget version in League. And the leveling process for that character, you just start as an elemental bow character, right? You'll just pick up a random bow, use elemental damage scaling until you get to endgame where you can afford to buy some quant gear and some Windripper stuff, and then work your way up into playing the full MF Windripper build, right? Next build guide. This is Sovin's Lazy Pally. This guy has been updating this build since like 2013, looks like, right? This is the most generic lazy build in the game. It's a max block Templar with any melee skill. It's got an incredibly detailed leveling guide. This is like, if you want to play melee and you're not sure how to do it, this guide will teach you literally everything. It's so detailed. It tells you everything you need to know and like what kind of gear to look for in every single slot. It's an incredibly well-written guide, and I give this dude insane props for doing it. It is a lot of reading. If you don't like reading, you can just get the Path of Building paste spin. He even shows you like leveling progression, 15, 20, 35, 42, 53. Like it's a beautifully written guide. If you want to play a tanky sword and board character, here you go. Sovin's Lazy Pally. Next one I'd recommend is my two-handed Resolute Technique Slayer. Resolute Technique means non-crit, you can't miss basically, so it's a very tanky build. It's very easy to grow from starting out into endgame. It was my second Uber Elder kill ever. I did Cyclone variant, but this is a build guide for every two-handed skill, including the newest ones, Impale and Shattering Steel or whatever. Those will work on this as well. I usually use Lacerate or Cyclone myself, but it works with everything. If you ever have any, like Cyclone, Earthquake, Lacerate, Cyclone, I just said Cyclone, sorry, Sunder, Ground Slam, Consecrated Path, Ice Crash, Tectonic Slam, it all works with this character. And I have pace spins for like every spec, so you can do Axe, Mace, Sword, or Staff if you really wanted to. But I have it's just like you could play literally anything with it. And I do fully detailed like rare gear stat priority sections in all of my builds. So I have all the recommended starter weapons, and then like in every slot I recommend what to get stat-wise. So that should help a lot if you're not sure how to gear a character. All the skill trees, all that stuff's here, leveling guides here, you know, everything. It's a really good build. I've been playing it since since Lacerate came out a couple of years ago. And it's carried me through a lot of leagues since then. It's a fun build. Next one, Reeve Blade Flurry Scion with Assassin Slayer or Assassin Juggernaut. Again, we lose the stat sticks on this character, but you don't need it. Just get 2 good one-handed weapons and you'll be fine. Instead of an overwhelming amount of damage, you'll be able to just get 2 weapons instead and have a really good amount of damage still. It's a good tanky build guide. I played it all through, I don't even know, a bunch of different leagues. They leveled one of my characters 100 with it. I played it last league in Delve, pushed me past step 300, no problem. It's a fun, tanky, super fast build, and you can swap between Reeve for clearing maps into Blade Flurry for bossing, which is what you're seeing here. And again, all of these links, I keep saying this, all of the links are in the description of the videos with the pace spins and whatnot. Next one I would recommend is my Rainbow Blender Elementalist. Since you can still stat stick with physical damage spells, this is a really good league starter build. It was my league starter for, oh god, what league was that? Incursion, I think? And it's just a really easy build using Impulsos and Blade Vortex. They did nerf Impulsos slightly, but it really doesn't matter because Elementalist is broken enough as is. This video, I don't even have a stat stick. I'm using a Doriani's Scepter, so I didn't have any stat sticks, which have been slightly toned down, right? It didn't matter. I didn't need it. You just get carried by Elementalist and Heralds and Blade Vortex. It's a really good build, really fast build. You're a non-crit. Are you non-crit or you crit? I don't remember if you're crit or non-crit. Either way, you can do either way, but I think crit is higher overall single target damage. You just run around, you run into things with BV, and they explode, and it's great. Next character is the Scorching Ray Mind Over Matter Trickster starter that I played a while ago. It's a really tanky build focused on just fire damage degen. So you run around, you drop your Orbital Stormers to proc L Equilibrium, give them negative fire res, and then you burn them down with your Scorching Ray, right? It's a fairly tanky character, requires literally 0 uniques at all. You can get some that are, you know, beneficial to the build, but you don't need them. And since you're Mind Over Matter, you're fairly tanky. The damage goes to your mana instead of your life pool a lot of the times. So you can just regen through everything and burn them all down. Pretty simple build, very easy to play. You could also do Essence Drain or Blight or maybe the new Cold Damage Over Time skills with this style of character. It'd be the exact same build, just different damage types more or less. Next one is Righteous Fire Chieftain. So if you want to play an RF character and be like not require 30 uniques like the Juggernaut variant, this one is my version that I've been playing since Uberlab came out. I first made this character for Uberlab, and I managed to push 10k plus life without any Elder items, without any Shaper items, without any like expensive ass items. It was all just self-crafted strength life gear. And it's a pretty simple build. It's got detailed leveling guides, you know. You get to just stand there, tank everything, burn them down with your RF. You can do the Juggernaut variant as well, but as I said, the Juggernaut requires a ton of uniques. This one only requires 1, basically, Rise of the Phoenix, and then you can get a Dune Kubiari or a Doriani's Catalyst, depending on how much strength you have. And again, super detailed gear stat priorities on every section of every gear, along with leveling skill trees and all that other stuff. So all the information you ever need is there. Okay, so this is an Uberlab farmer for Molten Strike. This is from Engineering Eternity. It's just a super tanky build with Molten Strike that you can use to farm Uberlab. You can do boss fighting with it. You can do a lot of different types of skills with it, but it's mostly made for farming Uberlab as a jug. So you can be a tanky boy and just like melt stuff down. They did tone down Molten Strike slightly this league, but I think the plan of them was to move the base damage from the enchants onto the actual Molten Strike skill itself. So you'll be fine. It's a thick jug. If you want to be a thick jug, this is the build for you. Next one, this is from Lifting Nerd Bro. He is a quad Frostbolt Totems Hierophant that he's been updating for years, right? It's just like you have a bunch of totems that cast any real spell, but Frostbolt's probably one of the better ones. It's a cold projectile spell. I'm trying to see if there's an image of it being played. Doesn't look like it. But you more or less just run around with a bunch of totems and you melt stuff down. It's a pretty cool build. Yeah, there's some playstyle for you. It's a very safe build. It looks like your Mind Over Matter, right? It's a good starter build. And they are buffing totems slightly and giving you brands as well, so you could potentially add some brand skills to this if you wanted. But yeah, next one. We have another one from Lifting Nerd Bro. His Uberlab Farmer. It's a War Chief Totem Champion. Champion was buffed this league, actually, so you'll be able to add some more stuff to this. But it's a War Chief character. You drop a totem, the totem uses your weapon and just bitch slaps things. It's great. Big two-handed weapons, pretty tanky character, lots of life regen, lots of fortify. You know, you just run around and you drop it for... You can use this for mapping, but also for Uberlab farming. So if you prefer one or the other, just do that. It's got pretty detailed leveling skill trees, leveling tips, quests, you know, everything you could ever need to make the build guide. It's a fun build. War Chief, I don't like totems personally, but this is a really, really solid build for making a lot of currency early on. Next one, this is from Wins. He's another streamer. It's a Glacial Cascade Miner Saboteur. So you can, then he also has a life-based version with Mind Over Matter and a low-life variant. You can do literally anything in the game with this. You are a phase crit spellcaster, so you still use stat sticks, and you can do a lot of different types of builds, right? This is like, I've seen him play this. He's gotten millions and millions of DPS on this character, and it just deletes bosses. It's kind of gross. It's a very, very good endgame character and a very good starting out character to scale into endgame, right? All right, here's one from Octavian Zero, another PoE streamer. Definitely recommend giving all these people follows. But this is called his Rainbow Trap Fire Trap build. The concept is you go blood magic with this helmet, you get a ton of extra flat damage, and then everything on your character's gear is flat damage to spells or to traps. It just scales damage a ridiculous amount, and it'll one-shot everything ever. It's really cool. It's a really, really neat build that you get to use a lot of cool uniques on and scale into endgame pretty easily. Alright, this is a Mind Over Matter Essence Drain Contagion Trickster, so if you like the Chaos Dot builds, this is one that you could do as well. This is from Gazzy, another streamer. But this build's like, it just melts things. If you like playing Chaos builds, you don't want to worry about having to worry about like Reflect or Leech or anything like that. This is just a high regen Mind Over Matter tanky character that'll just delete the game for you. And next we have Glacial Cascade Totems. So remember, Fizz spells can still use stat sticks, so this is a totem build that features Glacial Cascade, and it's already been updated to 3.5. Most of these builds will be updated shortly, it's just they haven't changed the title since the builds really aren't changed that much. But yeah, super tanky build, super tough, super high DPS build as well. So you should be fine to go with this one too. Alright, and this is for Wander. If you want to play Kinetic Blast Barrage Wander, this is, I think, the most popular Wander build on the forums right now. It's the Queenliness Wander Finder. He's been updating this for, it looks like, over 2 years now. It's just a really fast character that'll delete the whole screen, and then you swap to Barrage for single target. It's a pretty fun build. I played Wander to 100 a couple times, and the AoE coverage of Kinetic Blast, along with the damage potential and the speed, it's a really attractive build to play. It's really fun and really flashy. It can get kind of expensive to gear towards min-maxing endgame, but it's a good fucking build. Like, if you want to play Wander, this is a good build guide to follow. Alright, this is Summon Raging Spirits. If you want to play a summoner, you could probably also swap in Skeletons or Purity of Heralds, whatever, all those things, right? It's a very solid Raging Spirits character that can do every piece of content in the game fairly safely and tankily. You know, it's just a good build. Summon Raging Spirits has been a mainstay for a long time now, and with the buffs to the minion damage and the minion accuracy nose on the tree, it makes them that much better. Second to last build, Toxic Rain. People have been asking me about this all day. Toxic Rain is still 100% playable. It's a great leveling skill. It's a great endgame skill. They toned down Quill Rain slightly this league, but it doesn't make or break the character. Like, you drop arrows, they spawn pods, the pods deal AoE damage and degen, and everything dies. It's a super fun, super fast build that you can start out with and scale up into late game. And last but not least, we have a Fire Elemental Hit build. Ele Hit was not changed at all this league, so you can still play it. And it's just you convert Elemental Hit from 3 elements into just fire damage, and then you just scale that extremely high base damage from Elemental Hit into a point where it'll literally just delete the endgame bosses. Shaper himself. That's like probably 10 million damage in 3 hits, 4 hits. It's kind of gross. This one, I think, got toned down slightly from Chinsel. No, it looks like, is he even using Chinsel? Yeah, he's using Quill Rain or Chinsel, so either one. Chinsel got toned down from 100% more to 50% more, which sounds like a lot, but this bow beats literally every mirror bow in the game as is, so it kind of needed toned down a little bit. You'll be fine. It's a really, really strong endgame build and beginning game build. But I think that concludes my list of builds. This is not every build in the game. Keep in mind, you can play a billion different builds in this game. It's just ones that I've seen played or recommended from other people, right? And they all will do you well for the week start. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you did, leave a like, leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and come follow me on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/Demi. If you want to watch me play the League Start live, I will be playing probably, I'm going to try to do like a 30-hour stream day one, so I'll see you on Betrayal Start or on Discord. All the links to everything to support the channel and to join me and keep following my content are in the description of this video. But thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys next time. That'll be Demi out.